Hey, this is Billy Earheart, and you're watching Picking It Out with Andrew Pope, my good friend. Hope you enjoy.
Yeah, it's another podcast. It's just called Picking It Out. Yeah, it's another podcast, y'all. Called Picking It Out. Ain't no telling what kind of shit we're going to talk about, cause we got the one and only Billy E in the house. And we're going to be picking it out. Hey, y'all. Well, here we are again. My name's Andrew Pope, and you're watching Picking It Out. Appreciate y'all continuing to watch the show here. Been having a lot of fun with this. Going to have a lot of fun today with an old buddy of mine. This guy is an original member of the Amazing Rhythm Aces. He played for over 20 years, I think 21 years, as part of Hank Jr.'s Bama band. And he just he played on my first record that we did it. Thank you for whoever's screaming down the road there. He played on my first record, Here We Go, that we recorded at Jeff Cook's Cook Sound in Fort Payne, Alabama. He's played live with me before. And glad to have him on here, Mr. Billy Earheart. What's going on, man?
Hey, Andrew.
Man, it's good to see
be
you.
Up in here.
Good to see you again, even if it's on a screen. I've seen you through a screen most of my life, really. Now I come to think of it.
Well, it's good to see you, man. And I was digging that little intro song there. You'll have to cut that.
Yeah, I might cut it with a butter knife if I can find a sharp enough one. You was talking about all the shows you've been doing, and you said like 60 something shows you've done since all this.
Oh no, more than that.
Man.
I've been the last year, well, it was about the middle of May after they opened back up a year ago, 11 months ago, whenever it was after the 2-month shutdown of everything. Then Mississippi opened back up about the middle of May last year. And luckily, I've been doing 3 or 4 or 5 shows every week.
Man.
Somewhere around here in Mississippi, around the Tupelo area, Muscle Shoals, Clarksdale.
That's
Memphis,
good.
Somewhere over here. But mainly in Mississippi, because they opened everything up pretty good over here. And I got a friend, several friends that will hire me. You know, I was thankful that you let me play with you several times and record your first record, but I've got 3 or 4 other ones over here that work when they can. And so I've been blessed to have some work. A lot of people hadn't had any work with this pandemic going on.
Yeah. Well,
but,
I ain't had any. I did 1 show last year. So that's why I started this podcast, really. The main reason. But it's been fun. It's different for me. I kind of, I tell people I'm not really an interviewer. I'm just a singer and songwriter, guitar slinger or whatever, but it's kind of like really being just having conversations with friends of mine that we'd normally have, they're just recorded, is the only difference. I don't know. I would say that I have asked a little more questions to people that I wouldn't normally ask, that I think people would be interested in, or maybe they hadn't talked about so much or something like that. But
yeah, I hear you.
It's been fun.
I'd do the same thing if I had one going. I'd want to find out some things that people might be curious about that
Yeah.
don't talk about much.
Yeah. And I mean, you've been, me and you've talked about stuff before, but you've been probably, I mean, when you was with the Amazing Rhythm Aces, y'all went all over the world pretty early on, like in the 70s, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I did that job 46 years.
Mm.
We took a few little breaks in there. Our lead singer, Russell Smith, died 2 years ago, but he had a solo record deal and had 2 or 3 albums going. And then he had Run C and W. He did 2 or 3 albums with them, with Bernie Ledden that was in the Eagles, and Jim Photoglow and some other songwriters. Kind of a comedy bluegrass versions of soul songs.
Huh.
But the Aces started about 73, and just 2 years ago, the singer died, so we won't be doing that anymore. But we're real proud to have just released a double live album that we recorded in Germany 20 years ago that this company wanted to put out as a tribute to Russell. And it was a radio show in 2000 or 2001, I think, in Bremen, Germany, and it was recorded really good. And when it came on the radio in Germany, a lot of people recorded it, and then it kind of got bootlegged around for 20 years. So a lot of people already had it, but the radio station that owned the rights to it wanted to put it out as a tribute to Russell. And
that's cool.
But we had 25 albums over that 46 years. That's a lot of great songs. Russell's a heck of a songwriter.
Yeah, he is. That's what I was going to say. He's underrated, I think, as a songwriter. I mean, I know he does get credit, but I think he's underrated. He wrote some great songs, and the Grammy that y'all won was for "The End Is Not in Sight," wasn't it?
Yeah, that was in 76.
That's a great cut too on that. I love that song.
And we almost won it the year before for Third Rate Romance, which was a bigger hit.
Mm-hmm.
And we were nominated, but it was nominated as Best New Artist, and they gave it to a gal, Sheena Easton, or some kind of a pop artist, I think.
Yeah.
But that was cool. It was nice to be nominated, and we didn't think much of it back then. Back in them days, we were so wild that it was just kind of party. We didn't really care about Grammy Awards, but it means a lot now. Looking back at it, it didn't so much then. But
yeah, well, hopefully you didn't party hard enough that you can't remember some of the good times. You know, I mean, me and you talked about some.
Yeah, we partied as hard as you could possibly party, so I've forgotten a few of them, but I still remember quite a few good ones. We had a lot of good times, and I got to play for several presidents and go on tour with Bill Murray and
Bill Murray. Back in when he was on
we took him to
SNL.
Australia for a couple of weeks. That was a blast.
That when he was on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. In fact, he got us on that show in 1980. We just did a whole bunch of stuff. Got to open for the Eagles on the long run tour, and we did a big Jimmy Buffett tour of Margaritaville in '76 for 100 dates, and Willie and Waylon, and back in the mid '70s, and we had a ball, that's for sure. Then went into Bluesville. Russell wanted to do a little solo thing, and we took a break, and everybody kind of, me and the bass player started working with some blues artists around Memphis, and Al Green and Rufus Thomas, and doing a lot of recording with different people. And then the Bo Cephas job came up, and that was another whole level of craziness. So we've been lucky to have a lot of work last 50 something years, so I can't complain.
Well, we're just talking about Bill Murray. He, for some reason, I don't know, he must just be like a huge music fan in general, because he's went an extra mile for a lot of musicians, a lot of groups. I heard weird stories like when Chris Stapleton was with the Steel Drivers. They were playing this little theater in where is it? He lives in South Carolina, I think, Charleston or something. And he went out there and bought every ticket and stood out there and handed them to people. Said, keep your money to buy a T-shirt or something, bought all the tickets. And
I've heard about that.
He's kind of been
done that several times for several different people, I think.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
he's
real cool.
I've heard, a lot of my friends are buddies with him. I've never met him. But he seems like he's just a big music fan in general. So even back then, before really he was that well known like he is now, to do that, like, how did y'all end up with him, touring with him?
Well, he was doing a movie about Hunter S. Thompson, who's a writer. He started with Rolling Stone and wrote Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and a bunch of books about getting high and drinking and politics and crazy, wild stuff. Anyway, Hunter Thompson's a character, and they've made several movies of him. Johnny Depp did one, and his was actually the best, more like Hunter. Bill Murray made him too comical. Hunter wasn't really comical. But anyway, Bill was doing this movie, and Hunter was a friend of ours. We used to party with him in Colorado out there, Woody Creek, where he lived. And he had on an Aces tour jacket. And Bill Murray wasn't familiar with us too much, and Hunter turned him on to us and played him some stuff and a few select cuts over 4 or 5 albums. And he became a huge fan and went, after filming the movie, he went back for the new season, 1980, and he told them, I got to get the Amazing Rhythm Aces on this week. Wow. And Lorne Michaels, the producer, said, we've already got music scheduled. He says, I don't care. They're coming on the show. He said, even if it's the first time we have 2 musical acts, I want them on the show. And he fought for us that hard.
Wow.
to where that's the only show they ever had two bands. They had a Canadian folk singer, Bruce Coburn or Cockburn. I forgot how you say his last name. A good folk singer, Canadian guy. He was scheduled, and they brought us in at right the week before the deal, and we did Third Rate Romance and Who Will the Next Fool Be. They had in the house band, they had David Sanborn playing sax, and he played sax with us. And then Bill got up there and played maracas on Third Rate Romance with us.
Huh.
And they got huge ratings because of it. They liked it. And we kind of befriended him, and he started coming to a few shows. And we said, man, go to Australia with us if you got, get a little break. And damn, he just showed up. We were there in the motel in Australia, just got there. And then the next thing, he's knocking on the door, Wow. He just came on his own to hang out.
Yeah.
I paid his own way and everything, and did like a whole week tour with us. And
Man.
Nobody knew who he was over in Australia.
Yeah.
He was doing all the those different characters that he did, and they just thought he was crazy,
Yeah.
It was a mess, but
he
it was fun.
I've heard all kinds of stories like that. I didn't know it went that far back with him, but that's really cool. Because people didn't even really, like you said, didn't even know who he was, especially probably over there. I mean, in the States, they probably did from SNL, but for him,
they definitely did then, because he had been on it for 5 years.
Yeah,
it was 1980, but they were a little bit behind in Australia back then, because they didn't even have FM radio or cable or anything like that over there then. It was a lot different in 1980. It changed in about 10 years, but they were kind of behind a little bit. But it was a blast. It was fun, and all the Amazing Rhythm Aces shows were always fun, and just about nearly every one of them were sold out up to the very end. Last one we did was in Muscle Shoals over at Cypress Moon Studios.
Oh yeah,
used to be Muscle Shoals Sound number 2 on the river. It was a National Guard Armory for a long time, and
yep,
the Swampers bought it after they moved out of the small studio on Jackson Highway. But they had shows over there, and that was our last show. And
wow,
just every one of them was packed.
I've spent a lot of time over there writing songs with Martin Armour. He's a friend of mine.
Great writer. Yeah, I know Mark well. I've done sessions with him.
Yeah, me and him, we've wrote a lot of songs, and we're pretty close.
He's Spooner Oldham's cousin. And,
he is.
Heck of a keyboard player and guitar player, singer and songwriter too.
Yeah, he's a character too. We've had some funny times over there. I love going over there. I don't get over there much as I used to, but I love it over there in Muscle Shoals. He's got an office over there.
Yeah,
he rents an office out of there. Well, I mean, what got you interested in music? I mean, what was the first thing that ever got you interested in it, to want to learn or play?
Well, we had my dad got upright piano in the house that really got me interested back in the late 50s when I was about 5-6 years old. Just tinkling around, trying to play Floyd Kramer or Ray Charles, boogie woogie type stuff as a kid. I didn't know what I was doing, but it was fun to try. My dad was a sax player. My mom played clarinet and the marching band in high school. They loved music and loved listening to records and dancing. And my dad played in several little dance bands that would play out at the Officers Club or the South Jackson Street Orchestra in Tullahoma, Tennessee, where I grew up, just an hour from Nashville. And he also had a little 5-piece combo. It was a lady that played organ named Opal Wiener. Opal Wiener and the 5 little hot dogs, and they were hot.
Wow.
Playing kind of like big band streamed down to a little 5-piece, quintet or something. But he was a heck of a musician, and he inspired me more than anybody. But when the Beatles came out about 64, it turned just millions of guys on. I was born in 54, so I was 10 when they came out, and it just hit me between the eyes. I said, well, that's what I want to do, To hell with all this learning, all this school stuff. I just want to play drums or play bass or play piano or something. So I got real interested early, and 66, I was 12. I did my first show. So that's been 55 years ago.
Whoa, man.
Yeah, I'm 67, just turned 67 about a month ago.
Happy late birthday.
I'm happy to be alive and still playing. So many of my friends from the Hank Jr. days and the Aces days, they're dead and gone and been gone dead 20 years. It's like I'm just feel blessed to still be able to play music and have friends and get to spend a lot of time with my family. I've got 4 beautiful grandkids that take up a lot of my time when I'm not playing now. And it's a pleasure and a blessing to get to hang with them. It's just, life's pretty good for an old man, I guess.
How did you get with Hank? Did Merle Kilgore set that up or what?
No, in fact, Merle Kilgore was not Hank's manager then. He
okay. He's
he
still
was
in Coleman.
just a sidekick, and he kind of opened the show.
Right.
Lamar. He had a guy over there in Alabama.
Gary or Lamar.
No, Lamar was the band leader. He was a guitar player, and he was married to Hank's stepsister, Lucretia.
You talking about J.R. Smith?
I'm talking about J.R. Smith was his manager when I got there.
Okay.
And then he found out something wasn't going exactly right with J.R. and fired him immediately and hired Merle. We were standing right there when he hired Merle the first time, and it had already been with him a couple of years then. But I was playing, had already done the Aces about 5 or 6 years, and was playing on in Memphis a lot down on Beale Street. We'd backed up B.B. King and Memphis Slim and Al Green, and me and the Aces bass player and the Aces drummer and a guy named Don McMahon, Papa Don McMahon from Memphis. And he worked with John Mayall and Jerry Lee Lewis and Rufus Thomas and BB and a bunch of them. And we had a little 4-piece band and playing around Memphis on Beale Street. And we were the first ones to ever play at the Rum Boogie Cafe on Beale, right at Beale and 3rd. It was one of the first they opened up down there in 84 after they reopened the street. It was shut down for years, and they rebuilt it. Anyway, I was doing that, and Hank's drummer, Bill Marshall, called me up and said that Hank had just fired Dixie Hatfield, Hank Jr.'s piano player, got wild and shot a TV and was out of control, and the cops had come and took him off, and he had done it before one time. He's a great guy, but he had a little drinking problem, like, well, I did too. But anyway, Dixie got fired. They called me and asked me if I wanted to do it. That was August, first week of August in '85. And I said, yeah, I'll do it, because I knew Hank Jr. was playing sold out shows.
Oh, yeah.
Back then. And at that time, he had 11 albums in the top 100. He had the number one record, Ain't Misbehaving, at that time. It kind of hurt me for one thing was the day before he hired me, I got a call from Bobby Blue Bland's guitar player, want me to play with Bobby Blue Bland, great blues player.
Oh, yeah.
Singer. And I said, let me think about it. And then they offered me this Hank job. So I kind of wondered if I did the right thing, but I think I did, because Hank was so hot at the time, and money wise, it would have been quadruple what I could have got from Bobby Bland. And we played with a ton of people with both Cephas. I mean, we played with Waylon a bunch. I mean, with him.
Yeah.
Oh, he'd come up on stage with us every time we played and get to back him, and did TV shows, and just tons of people that would come up on the jam with Hank. So I did that 21 years, and then he decided he wanted to get a younger looking band in 2006. Merle Kilgore died 2 years before that.
Mm-hmm.
And Hank didn't have anybody helping him make good decisions, but he decided he wanted to get a younger looking band. Somebody had said, if you're going to compete with Little Hunter Hayes and Taylor Swift, you need a younger band instead of them old guys.
My God.
And so he let me and Animal and Ray and Bill Marshall, the Bama band, he let us all go, and got people up there that could play, but they really didn't know. It takes a long time to learn about 90 albums worth of material.
Yeah.
Because he just picks them. There's no set list. He just pulls them out, and he expects you to know them when he starts playing it. So
right. And he'll try to throw you off.
Happy at first. He wasn't too pleased because they didn't know his stuff.
Yeah,
like we did. I don't know if they do still, but we had 21 good years, and that's a lot more than most musicians ever get to do at that level with a sold out packed house every night.
Mm-hmm.
I never once had to set up my stuff or tear it down because we had a road crew. Tour bus or jets, and was just first class all the way. And he treated us really good, other than firing us for no reason. But what the hell, could be a lot worse.
I seen I can't remember how many, a few years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I guess he was playing in Houston somewhere, and Animal showed up and sat in and played a song. Did you see that?
Yeah. He Animal lives down there, and he came down to the show and got up and jammed a few with them.
That's probably the first time he's even talked to Hank since then, probably. Since y'all was let go.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was 2006, so it's been 15 years ago.
Oh, okay. I didn't, yeah, I guess so. 15 years. My goodness. I always loved, I mean, I know he would try, cause we've talked about it before. He would try to play Stump the Band all the time too. And in the middle of a song, just go into another one and just whatever on the top of your head.
Yeah, yeah, that's the way he liked to do it, and we kind of could follow him pretty good,
Yeah.
and he he was a blast, and we had fun, and no regrets. We never did anything to worth getting fired over, but that kind of hurt a little bit. But what the hell? We got 21 good years, and like I say, that's way more than a lot of people ever get. So
Yeah, it is.
I sure can't complain.
What do you remember about going and filming the video with Van Halen for My Name Is Bo Cephas? Or was y'all filming that?
Well, we were the music on that track.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Bama band live on Hank Live album.
Oh yeah.
My Name Is Bo Cephas. We cut that a record. It was a #1 album and a #1 video too. But the music is us. The rest of it, the video, we're not in the video. But except for the music,
Yeah.
they were pantomiming us.
Yeah.
So they weren't really playing. That was us playing every bit of it. But we did get to hang with them several times, and Sammy came out and jammed with us a few times. Sammy Hagar and Mike, the bass player, and Eddie and his brother, the drummer, invited us to a Van Halen show in Las Vegas and got to hang out and meet them. And we even got to hang with David Lee Roth a few times, but he had already left Van Halen by then when he was hanging with us. He wanted to come meet Hank, and we got him up on the bus. He didn't jam with us or nothing. He just came up on the bus, and we had some cocktails and stuff back in the 90s sometime. But yeah, the Van Halen guys were real nice. I sure did hate to hear about Eddie having cancer. The tongue, had to cut his tongue off, I think.
Yeah.
And then right after that, that's about the time his wife left him. That kind of hurt, but yeah, Sammy Hagar was really cool. He did one time he came to a show in somewhere in Northern California, and he brought Hank $1,000 bottle of wine, and then he said, for the band, y'all just give me your shoe size, and I'm gonna send you some Eddie Van Halen red rocker high top black tennis shoes. I can't drive 55 logo on the side of them. They were his own custom little tennis shoe, kind of like Converse high top All Stars, only they were solid black.
Yeah.
And he gave everybody in the band a pair of them. Him and his girlfriend came, brought Hank that bottle of wine, and then he got up and jammed with us. And he had just recorded on one of Hank's albums sometime in the early 90s, and Hank cut Almost Persuaded, old classic David Houston country song.
Yep.
Kind of rocked up a little bit.
Yeah, I remember that. It's on Lone Wolf, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Sammy did that on the record.
Huh, I didn't know that.
And yeah, he came and guested on the record. I think he sang a verse or played guitar or something. But we may have played that live that night that he brought the wine. And he was real nice. And Alex Van Halen, the drummer, was real nice too. He came to a show in Vegas, and the bass player came one time in LA twice and Vegas once. He was Michael Anthony, the bass player, was real nice. Then he gets fired. I don't know. I hated to see him get fired out of Van Halen. I think Eddie Van Halen had his son playing bass, Wolfgang. But Michael was the original bass player and did the first 3 or 4 albums, but he got the axe. I hated to hear that. But yeah, it was fun days back in them days. And
it really seems like during that time in the from the mid 80s to all the way through the early 90s, maybe through the whole 80s, but especially during that time, everybody in any genre of music, no matter how big they were, loved Hank Jr. and wanted to meet him, wanted to come jam, wanted to go to the barbecue, at his house, or, everybody.
He did. They definitely did. I wish he hadn't gotten political about things. It cost him like a bunch on that Monday Night Football. We did the very first one, the Monday Night Football theme that won a Emmy Award. He mentioned something about President Obama in a negative way, and it cost him the Monday night. The ESPN fired him over it. But up until then, you're right. Everybody wanted to hang with Bocephus, and let's drink some little whiskey, let's drink some beers, let's throw down, let's party, let's do this, let's do that, and jam. And
yeah,
kind of changed a little bit after he, sometimes when you get politics up involved in it, you're going to make somebody upset, somebody angry. So I kind of stay out of it. But I learned my lesson from seeing him lose $1 million job over it. But
I feel like after Merle died too, after Merle Kilgore died, something in him did too.
I think so. He was like a dad that he never had, and he gave him good advice, and he would listen to him, but he would give him some suggestions and some good common sense.
Yeah.
I think if Merle had been alive, he wouldn't have let him fire the whole Bama band, because he knew that we knew all the material and how hard it is to learn.
Yeah.
So many albums. I mean, I think he had 89 or 92 albums or something. And
it's crazy.
I mean, some of those were greatest hits, but there's a lot of material, and it just.
And a lot of y'all played on a lot of them records too.
Yeah, we played on a bunch of them. I probably played on about 20 something albums, and Animal and Cowboy played on more than that, but yeah, we had a big time. We had a huge big time, and still trying to have a big time. I've been playing with a blues artist from Clarksdale, Senatobia area, Mark the Mule Man Massey, and he's really good. And he's was one of the youngest blues artists on a Mississippi Blues trail marker down at the Parchman prison down there. He did a couple of years in there and learned it from David Kimbrough and some other guys in there in the park. He was in the last Parchman band. Anyway, we've been doing stuff since Hank let us go in 15 years or so, and done 3 or 4 albums, and got a couple ready to go that's in the can, and got a bunch more recording projects going with possibly the Bama band.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Miss Regina that sings from over here, and we played Ayuka for about 10 years. She's a great soulful singer. She can sing anything, but I won't cut a record on her. I'm gonna have to bring her to Wishbone and Muscle Shoals and let Billy Lawson help me
There you
cut a
go.
record on her.
Yeah. No Billy too. And Wishbone.
Here lately, I've been doing the last couple of years, I've been doing a lot with this guitar player, singer, Anthony Zappa. He did George Jones and Mo Bandy, uh, 20 years in Branson, backing up a bunch of different people. Chubby Checker, he toured with the Platters. He was an artist for Hanna-Barbera. He's a talented guy and a great singer and guitar player. And we've been doing a little duo around. That's where I've been working so much, just playing me and him.
Yeah.
Playing old country at these little catfish places and little barbecue joints, you know, just to have something.
Yeah.
Have a few pesos coming in, you know.
Yeah. Got to keep it coming in somehow. It's kind of
Eating good, that's for sure. Hell, I've gained about 50 pounds. I quit smoking 3 years ago, and I'm thinking, hell, I'm just going full hog, I guess, and just chowing down. And
that's a good thing you quit smoking, man. I didn't know that. That's a really good thing. I mean, I've heard that's the hardest thing in the world to do.
yeah, it's hard. That and drinking. I got 27 years sober, and that wasn't easy either. But
God bless you for that.
I can't drink. I can't have one, and
Yeah.
I had a collapsed lung. That made me quit smoking. That took that. I wasn't even thinking about it before that, and I smoked 50 years, 2 packs a day. So it's a miracle I hadn't already had lung cancer and died, you know. So, but they're all right now. They're breathing good. I'm gonna go one day at a time with it, but I ain't planning on smoking or drinking. So I'm glad about that. I get to hang with my grandbabies some more.
Right. That's what it's really about. That you were in close to Tupelo in Mississippi, ain't you?
Yeah, I'm 20 miles east of Tupelo.
Did y'all have any damn tornadoes last night?
They had them coming through, but they were up about 10,000 feet. You know, they didn't drop down.
Yeah.
But they were spinning up there, Category 3, and big winds. And I don't think any of them dropped down. Just a couple of days ago, they did too. I think it was Thursday. Yeah, Thursday, they had them all day. I had to play New Albany, Mississippi that night, and that was 20 miles away. It's the same thing, but they were real high up.
Yeah.
And the funnel didn't come down, thank God. But
well, see, a lot of that stuff that y'all get, we get up here in Northeast Alabama about an hour to 2 hours later.
I know it tore the hell out of Birmingham over there and killed 5, I think, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. But I always, every time them in Mississippi, they're always stronger, it seems like, and then they'll weaken a little bit, then they'll get stronger again. And I always think about y'all out there, because I don't see, have y'all ever been hit?
No, but we come close. 2011.
Yeah.
One hit Smithville and destroyed. I mean, it just flattened it. It was Category 5. It pulled houses up off the foundation and pulled the damn carpet up off there was nothing left but concrete and no house anywhere, not laying in the yard. It took it off somewhere
Yeah.
2 or 3 miles away and dropped it out in the field. But it killed 11 at that one, and that's just 11 miles south of us between here and Amory. And that same one went over and hit Hackleburg, Alabama, tore it to pieces, kept on going and hit, I believe it hit Tuscaloosa and tore it all to pieces.
It did. Yeah, that was a rough one.
There was a bunch of them, about 40 of them, all over Alabama and Mississippi that day.
Yeah, it was, and 200 or 300 people died in that. That was April 27th, 2011. I was at my mother and stepdaddy's house during that, and was on the front porch, and I saw that damn thing down on the ground. I could see it, and it went across my granddaddy's old pond, and we could just see it go by. And then right down the road, it completely destroyed some of our neighbors' houses over there. They were all safe, but completely gone. It was rough.
That's scary.
And things ain't nothing to mess with, man.
Yeah, Mother Nature ain't playing around.
No. Yeah, it's tornado season now, so we'll probably get all kinds of it, but maybe not. I'm glad to hear that you're playing so much still. Do you keep in touch with Ray and Wayne and Bill and all them, the Bama Band boys?
Yeah, we had an offer for an April date down in Houston. We just couldn't do it yet because of the pandemic and flying, and guys not wanting to take the risk on catching this old virus, because those old guys, it don't do so good on us. But Ray had some stents put in his heart, and he wasn't really ready to travel all the way to Houston yet. He's getting stronger and stronger. He did have some back surgery and had a hip replacement too, so he's had a rough time with the surgeries. Animal's been staying busy down there in Houston, and Bill Marshall stays busy in Memphis. But last year we went up to no, it was a year before. Last year we didn't do one show, but the year before we went up to Cleveland, Ohio, and did a Bama Band show. It was real nice, and it was Waylon's grandson opened the show for us. Way Jennings, yeah. It was nice to meet him, and he had David Allen Coe's band. He stole David Allen Coe's band. They started playing with him. Now I think David had a car wreck or something, and he hired him away from him while he was taking a break. But it was nice to hang with Way, and I knew his dad had just died.
Buddy. Terry
died, and I know Buddy too, but they were like crew guys for Waylon, and I think Buddy used to be the drum tech when I first back in the 70s. But it was nice to meet Waylon's grandson. We got to do a bunch with the Aces with Waylon in the mid 70s, right when all that outlaw country stuff was going.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Hank, we did a whole bunch with him. Hank Jr. loved Waylon Jennings, and it just tore him up when he died. And, Waylon had to cut his leg off right there at the knee there right before he died, too.
Yeah.
Diabetes, I think.
Yeah.
It just was rough. And all of his band were friends of ours. It was just they were close with Waylon, and
I think that the Hank Jr. and Friends record that he did in Muscle Shoals is the first one that really he started, and that was before the Mountain Fall, I think, wasn't it?
it was right after he fell.
Okay.
It was after he fell and kind of got back going again.
I think that one is kind of the first, one in that direction. But I think that the New South is one of me and Shooter Jennings are pretty close, and we talk about that record all the time. And Waylon and Richie Albright produced that record. Most people don't know that. But man, that's just a different record, Yeah,
I hated Richie died just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
He was a really nice guy, and I got to hang with him a few times. Well, back in the 70s, and then he left Waylon for a while, and I got to hang with him on a Aces show. He was playing drums with Goose Creek Symphony, and we did a show up in Lexington, Kentucky, and he was on that, and it was fun hanging with him on that. Then he had Waymore's Outlaws with
Shooter.
A few of the guys in Waylon's band, and playing around the last few years since Waylon died. But
have you met Shooter?
Not really. He came to one of his dad's shows. I want to say it was at Starwood
in Nashville.
Yeah, back maybe in the late 80s or 90s. He was kind of young. Now, I remember when he was just born, when we were out on tour with the Aces playing with him in the 70s sometime.
He's a good dude. He, like me, he's one of the biggest Hank Jr. fans on the planet. Of course, he's been around Hank, in one way or the other ever since he was born.
Right. But
he's got a lot of respect for Hank and Hank Williams, just like I do. We talk about it all the time. I mean, we're pretty well versed in that Williams family. Yeah,
I'm a huge Hank Williams fan. I love all of just every track he ever cut.
Yeah,
I think 143 of them, and
man, to be so young too, and write like that.
That's mighty young to be checking that. And you always think of him as being older than that.
Yeah, I know.
He had such a old soul spirit or something, it just.
Yeah, he really
sings, like a Cold Heart or some of them just killer songs. I mean, you don't think of him being in his 20s. No. Just doesn't seem that way, but he was something else, man. Hank Sr. was old. Hiram was something else.
Yeah. And he's respected by everybody in any genre of music. They know he's the real deal troubadour, the real lyrics and stuff. I mean, man, you're right. You don't think about him being that young. I think people forget about that. But I mean, even when you hear him, like you can get on YouTube and listen to some of these old tapes and stuff like that. He kind of little crowd banner, like he's talking, introducing the band, making little jokes and stuff. He sounds like he's a lot older than what he really was.
I know.
But I think that Hank Jr. really, I can't imagine the hard time that he had being Hank Jr. especially with Audrey, pushing, like she did. But I think at some point he finally accepted that it's okay to still do, because he still loves doing his daddy's songs and stuff like that. Y'all played them all time. I mean, hell, y'all would play Kalijah.
Heard him when he was a teenager.
Oh yeah,
and just trying to break into doing it. And after his mama telling him to learn all his daddy's stuff, which he wanted to do,
yeah,
then he goes out there doing his daddy's stuff just to get to work, and then people coming up to him and going, you were good, little Bocephus, but your daddy, he was just the best. And he heard that so many years, it almost like, I don't know, it make you depressed or just feel like, well, I'm never going, how could anybody ever fill his shoes? But he pulled through and made his own mark. That's for damn sure. He came up with his own little thing and used a little bit of his daddy and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Came up with his own little style, I think.
Yeah. And I think Merle Kilgore, if it hadn't have been for Merle Kilgore, and y'all know, all y'all know because you was there every day, Hank wouldn't have had 10, 11, 12 Billboard albums at the same time on the chart. I mean, people don't, nobody had ever really done that. To have that many records on that chart at the same time, that was unbelievable.
I know.
And they still wouldn't give him awards and stuff for a while. And then finally they had to.
Well, he was too wild and people just were scared. What's he going to do?
Yeah.
If we get him on the show, is he going to just come out here buck naked or, go crazy? Just a little bit scared of him. And then they gave him a few awards. I think he won Entertainer of the Year.
Yeah. 4 or 5
times and
4
male vocalist and video awards. He won a bunch.
He ever talked to y'all about, growing up and how he was and just kind of get personal, or was it just kind of business and joking around or whatever? Partying?
It was a little bit of everything. He didn't go too much into anything negative or when he was younger, except he did mention a few times he wanted to be, his name is Randall Hank Williams.
Yeah.
And he was rocking Randall.
Mm-hmm.
And like in the early 60s, he kind of wanted to be like the white Jimmy Reed and kind of do bluesy type boogie woogie rock and roll stuff. He wasn't sure he wanted to just jump into the country scene because all the little gals like that rock and roll stuff in the 60s and the R&B and the soul and R&B and the bluesy type stuff that was coming out. But he was rocking Randall and the Rockets. I think he was his little band he had then when he was in junior high school or high school. And but
y'all ever been down to Troy, Alabama?
He's got a place in Troy, and he's got a couple of places in Paris and one in Montana. He's got, he may have a Florida home. He's got about 5 or 6 homes. Montana, he's he kept buying ranches. I forgot. It seems like he at one time he had about 40 or 50,000 acres up there. He was buying adjoining farms, that to
Yeah.
where he had like about a 10 or 20 mile square thing was all his. And we went up there a couple of times and hung out. And up in Paris a bunch of times, over at the cabin and at his other house. And
Mm-hmm.
then he built a new house, and I got to go up check that out good before he ever went in it. A friend of mine was working for him and took me and a friend on a tour of the place before I had anything moved in. It was really, really nice. But hadn't done too much down in Troy. Hadn't been down there and hung on his place down there. I know his granddaddy was from down there, and that's why he likes to hunt down there, I know. And
yeah, I think old Bob Ritchie got some land adjoining his there too now.
Across the street, I think, yeah, Kid Rock's got him a place. I believe it's just down the road a little bit.
Yeah, Hank kind of got him into that, and he kind of fell in love with it too, I think. He's a good old boy, ain't he?
Yeah, he is. He's a lot more humble than you'd think, and
yeah, he is.
He really loves Hank Jr. and
mm-hmm.
He was real nice to us, and we got to play with him many times out in L.A. and Birmingham. We did a Nashville TV show, CMT.
Crossroads.
Hank Jr. and Kid Rock did a special. And
yeah, I remember that. Crossroads,
yeah.
That was at the Wild Horse Saloon, I think. That's where y'all filmed that, wasn't it?
No, we filmed it at Opryland.
Oh, really?
At the new. No, it was a theater. The new Ryman over there at the Opryland.
Oh, the new Opry House. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I remember kind of when they first got together, it was kind of surprising to me, but I've met Bobby a few times, and we talk about Hank a lot, and he's real cool, man. He's got good manners, and he just likes to mess with people, but he's really a good person. Got a great heart, helped a ton of damn people, and hadn't said a word about it. That's what I like. But man, he's well versed like us in all that Bocephus stuff. Larry Doolittle, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about him. Most people don't really know who he is. But
yeah, he died a couple of years ago. Bless his heart. He lived down in Troy too,
Yeah. Had you kept in contact with him?
Yeah, I had, until he died a couple of years ago, but he used to be the crew bus driver. He drove the crew bus for years, and then the guy that sold merch for Hank Jr. was Eddie Pleasant. Hank let him go and got Larry to start doing it. So he got out from behind the bus and started selling T-shirts and merch for Hank Jr. on the road. And I guess he did that for 15 or 20 years. They were big hunting buddies too. They'd go deer hunting and turkey hunting, and Larry was down around Troy. He would kind of look after Hank's farm when he was off the road, but he was a good and big old boy. I mean,
Big D.
he was a big 400-pounder, but he had a heart of gold, and
yeah,
he was funny.
Mutual friend of all of ours, William Johnson, that lives down there. Big Willem, you know.
Big Willem, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Big D, which is what they call Larry.
Yeah.
They were real close down there, and
real close.
Williams told me a bunch of stuff too, and him and Larry talked probably every day. That hit him hard. I know when he lost him, and I met Larry. Gosh, I've been around him about 10 or 11 times, probably. Always real nice and real inviting, and just, you know, whatever you want. And it's one of them things that's got to be weird, just losing these people that were such a part of your life. I'm not to that age yet, but
we lost a bunch on the Hank Jr. crew. I mean, a bunch, about 12 or 15 crew members. I can go on and on all day listing them, but it's tough. Monitor man, the lighting man, the assistant monitor man, Larry, road managers, guitar techs, just
yeah.
Hate to see your friends die. That's one of the tough things about getting old, you know.
Was Vernon Derrick still working for him when you joined?
Yeah, he was. He sure was. And then Vernon died about 10 or 15 years ago, I guess. But
yeah,
he was working when I got there and had been with Hank. I think he got hired in 82. I got hired in 85, and then he let Vernon go in 88. He fired Vernon. We'd see him every now and then. We'd be doing a Bama band show in Huntsville or Birmingham, and so he'd just show up. A great fiddle player and mandolin player. He could play guitar and work with a lot of bluegrass artists. He was a character.
He's from Arab, Alabama, which is just about an hour and a half probably from where I'm sitting. But whenever Hank used to live in Coleman, I figured that's probably how they met. So he got in with that. But I never got to meet him, but I would love to. I got a buddy that got to spend some time around him, and said you go in there and he got pictures with everybody you can think of, like not even in country music or just weird stuff, you know. And he said, I didn't really expect to see that. But
he was a character now. Woo, Vernon was something else. And he was bald headed and wore a toupee, and they used to kind of joke him a little bit. He was tight. I mean, he hated to tip. We'd go to a restaurant. We'd all be in there eating. He'd hate to leave a dollar bill. And one time we were at one of these fancy Hilton hotels somewhere. You know, those little bitty boxes of cereal that you can get, you know, you tear them open, and
yeah,
he tried to order a half of one of them. Can I get a half of one of those? She said, "No, sir, you have to get the whole box." So, look, I mean, just a little one serving box.
Yeah. That's funny as hell. Half of one of them would be like 2 spoonfuls, and that'd be it, probably. Man.
It was a mess. He'd always ask Animal, and he'd do his hand like this when he's, "What are you going to wear tonight?" "Hey, Wayne, what are you going to wear tonight?"
God.
So that kind of became a catchphrase for a while. Everybody was asking each other, "What are we going to wear tonight?"
Whenever Hank would come over there and sit down with you and play, some Jerry Lee or gonna go hunting tonight or whatever, how many damn keys on your keyboard would he knock off when he scraped it with his big cowboy boots?
Well, he did knock one off one time, but he didn't bust them out too bad.
That's
just
surprising.
one time he knocked a black key off. They glued it back on, but it was all right. Yeah, he had to do a little. Jerry Lee taught him to play piano a little bit when he was a kid.
Yeah.
So he liked to come over there and do that at least almost every night. Some nights he wouldn't do it, but
yeah. Yeah,
he could play pretty good rock and roll piano, I think. And wasn't the best you ever heard, but he could hang in there.
Oh yeah,
pretty good.
Wayne, is Wayne doing okay?
I hadn't talked to him in a few months. I sure hope so. I hear he's working down there in Houston. He's been getting to see his son. He's got I think about a 17 or 18-year-old son that he hadn't got to see quite as much as he wanted to. But here lately, I think the last few years, he has been able to get to see him. Him and his ex-wife are on better terms. And he was working with 2 or 3 musical groups down there in Houston. Country Jim and Miss Leslie, and then he's got he works for an oil well drilling company in the tool division. Like they've got a shop that he'll do for a day job sometimes.
Yeah,
he had to do that to where he could get the child support that they put on him. But
I'd love to have him on here and talk to him. I don't know if he'd be interested in that or not, but that'd be fun. And talk guitars and stuff like that. And his style, me and my cousin Josh, we've always been kind of just took back by his style and his tone that he uses.
Oh, he's an incredible guitarist, man.
God.
He can play anything too.
Yeah.
It's not just
not
just the Van Halen type, real fast type stuff. He can play, Chet Atkins, Merle Travis type finger picking, Doc Watson stuff as good as anybody.
Right.
Country studio type stuff that the top guys play, and he's a talented singer too, really a strong voice and a great songwriter too.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm sure glad that you're healthy and still working and doing good. And I really treasure that night in somewhere in Mississippi out there where I got you.
Over at Gore Springs.
Gore Springs, that's right. I really treasure that night, and you came in and played with us, and we had
that was fun.
I think we played Ain't Misbehaving at sound check, and one of the subs went out, and my uncle was the drummer, and it was his equipment that was using, and he broke it down and opened it up and fixed it, I think. But that was fun. I've still got that on video. I got that whole thing on video.
Wow.
That was fun that night, man. That people was really into that.
I've played that same joint a few times since then.
Have you? I didn't know if it's still there or not.
It's still there, and Jack Richardson still owns it, I think. And Pat. They haven't been doing too much here in the last year. You know, a lot of places are just scared to open because it's scary. I'm thankful I've had my COVID vaccine 1 and 2, but I'm still, going out somewhere. I'm gonna wear a mask just because I don't want to catch this stuff and die over it. But a lot of people are scared to get out and do stuff, but I think it's opening up more. We can get that vaccine in everybody, and it's going to get down to where it's going to get back like normal, I think, hopefully, and maybe in the fall.
I'm ready to get out there and start playing again. I was telling a friend of mine the other day, I'm itching for a scratching, I reckon, just ready to get out there. But yeah, we'll if somebody calls, I'll be there. Ain't nobody been calling so far. But it sure was good to see you again, even if it is on a screen, and talk to you. It's the first time me and you's really talked, besides a few messages here and there in a few years. I'm real glad you're still out there and still playing and healthy and got your grandkids, time with them, and you quit smoking and all. I mean, that's wonderful within itself. So just keep on rocking,
I enjoyed
man.
your show.
Oh yeah.
I thank you for asking me to do it, and I enjoyed the David Hammond show that you did with him. And
David's good. He's a good guy.
Really nice working with him over there at that studio. He's got really good ears, and
he does. Yeah, he's got a. I guess you heard it on there. He found that Leon Russell. It was a live concert. Leon Russell in the Newgrass Revival. You have to watch it. I can't remember whose house he found it at.
Wow,
it's an interesting story, and they're going to release it. I think it was an unreleased thing, and it's pretty cool. I've heard some of it, but anyway, man, just stay healthy and stay safe, and keep on rocking. And tell Wayne I'd love to have him on here.
I'll send him an email and see if I can get him to respond. Sometimes he kind of stays away from the face. He's got a Facebook page, but he never gets on there. And I try to say something to him, and he's not real sociable sometimes, but
yeah,
maybe he'll do it. You never know.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Well, I appreciate you accepting the invitation to do it here, and even with your 10-year-old laptop, like you said, it looks pretty good. So,
thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it so much, and maybe we can cut another record. You never know.
I'd love to.
This pandemic, and have plenty of time to write some songs.
Oh yeah.
Got to check out Wishbone over there. Billy Lawson's got it going on over at that studio now. He's got all new stuff, and it's just...
Yeah. I hadn't been over in a while, but he's actually got the microphone that Hank recorded Family Tradition on. I sang a demo on that microphone one day because me and him wrote a few years ago. And I hadn't been to Wishbone probably in about 7 years now, but I love it out there. It's real nice. But I didn't know he got all new stuff
on my buddy Mule Man over there, and I produced an album on this, like a Southern rock gospel record on a guy, Steve Morgan over there, and Billy helped me produce that. And I'm going to try to get Anthony Zappa over there and cut a record, Miss Regina, and finish up the Mule Man album. We're going to do a Christmas album over there too. And
good deal.
I may do a solo record over there if I can get the financing. And it's like a Booker T meets Floyd Kramer meets Dr. John kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. I like
New
that.
Orleans. And I'm going to get my grandkids on there, the Skunkingtons, come out and play percussion on it.
Awesome. I want to hear that whenever you get it done.
I'm going to do it before I die, I hope.
You got a long time left, man. You're just getting started. Well, good to see you, man. Good to talk to you. Hope everybody enjoyed the conversation here. And you've been watching Picking It Out, and we'll see you next time.